I sent her a message saying me and Michael are going to be fishing all the time.
Probably.
Yeah, so.
And when Patrick and Michael go gold hunt, I need is her name Allie? Is that right? Patrick, I don't want to say her name wrong.
Yes.
Wife's name?
Yes. Yes.
So Allie and I are going to have to do something while you two boys are off finding gold.
So basically,
Allie, you and I are going to have to do something, girl.
So basically, hey, it's gonna be me, Patrick, and Michael gone. So I guess you guys could take my daughter.
Oh, does she want to go too?
No, they could take my daughter. Nikki,
yeah.
you got to come out because you got to remember Patrick's moving out here to Denver, and so is Brooke. So we're gonna be partying out here. I'm sorry, sister. You're gonna be alone out there in Florida. You better get your butt to Denver if you wanna stay around us.
Yeah, Nikki, you need to get here. Yeah, see, Allison and I, you guys can go play. Her and I will go play.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty awesome. I'm so excited that you guys are making the move. So let's get back to this real quick again. Abraham, I'm really upset. I know you brought that up first. Abraham, if everybody don't know, Abraham and Glenn are two of my favorite characters. Abraham is my favorite character. If I were in an apocalypse, I know Abraham is kind of, he says some bad things about different things. But if I were in an apocalypse, he would honestly be my right hand man. I would go into battle with him because he would go back to back with you. If you became friends with him and you were friends and you guys were on the same page, he would be the one that you want in that situation. I would take him over Rick or Daryl because
I would take Abraham any day, too, because Rick can't fight his way out of a wet paper bag. Everyone beats Rick up.
Yeah, well, Rick is cool, but Abe's the best, I'd say, as far as that goes. And I feel so bad for Glenn, but Glenn, thank you, Allie. Allie agrees with me about Abe, too. Thank you, Allie. Shane, what are you talking about, Shane? Please don't talk about Shane. Everybody knows how I feel about Shane.
He was my favorite.
Oh my God.
I didn't like Shane.
Oh man, he was so dirty to do Rick like that with his family. I don't know. We could get that's an old conversation. That's an old conversation. In the
show, he lasted so much longer because in the comic book, he was killed by like the 2nd through 6th issue. He was already dead.
Yeah.
And they kept him all the way to the farm till the night when the farm actually burned down. So like he actually outlived his comic book counterpart also.
Yeah. You want to know some cool stuff? Is we have 33 live listeners right now, and we were supposed to be on yesterday, so that's pretty decent, that we have so many listeners.
And I think it's awesome. My brother Dave showed up, too.
Yeah, Dave showed up.
Thank
Allie's
you,
on
David.
here. Thank you. Denise is with us.
You need to come listen to our music, too, Patrick.
Yeah, he does.
Exactly.
Yeah. Patrick and Brooke have an awesome podcast on Sunday. They do such an awesome job, and it's such a good thing.
I'm picking out some heavier songs to put on, too, to get Brooke to throw in there.
Yeah, Shane did do Rick dirty. That's why I never like Shane. When I'm in a relationship, I believe in being just with that one person. So Rick's wife really destroyed my heart when she did that with Shane, knowing that was Rick's best friend, So I don't want to get into the soap opera part of it all, but that's why those two were my worst characters, Rick's wife and Shane. Because like I never cross a line with everybody. I never cross a line with the woman that's married. If she's not married, I might say, "Hey, would you like to go walk around the park or do something?" But I would never cross any kind of line. So Denise just said, "Don't get me started on Lori. Ike in a relationship." Yeah. Hey, I have a friend that I like just as a friend. Nakona, so don't make fun of me. She's making fun of me. I met somebody that I like. So what? Okay, not a relation. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I don't understand relationships yet, so I can't say it that. I'm learning. Okay, put it this way. I'm learning about relationships, and hopefully
when Allie and I come out. when Allie and I come out, we'll be your wingmen.
Okay.
Oh crap! You need to get you. Oh, no! That's gonna be scary.
Okay, we need to finish. We need to finish up. We're running into a lot of. We took up a lot of time on chit chatting. So let's go over. Let's get back into this and let's finish out. I know you brought up Abe, and I know it hurts me because Abe is my favorite character. But explain to me why this was so different from the comic book. Explain to me why and who it actually happened to in the comic book. That's what I want to get to. Okay. That's the point I want to get to.
Well, the difference with Abe, he actually dies earlier in the comic book. Him and Eugene go into a town so he could show him like where to make bullets and stuff like that. Yeah. And then as they're leaving the town, White puts an arrow through his eye, in which Denise got it in the show.
Yes, I remember.
And Kirkman actually said he wanted Abraham to be in the comic book when they're fighting Negan. It's called All Out War. And he said he really wished he would have left Abraham for All Out War, which is kind of confusing why he just ended up killing him anyways then.
Yeah. And because they didn't, I know about that part about him was at a point where he was supposed to die, but I thought because of that they would keep him on the show longer because they let Denise go instead of him. And what really confused me is why would they let Denise go when she was basically their only doctor?
Actually, like in the comic book, the only doctor is actually in Hilltop. So like when Maggie had her complications in the show, the comic book version was Glenn talked Maggie into moving to Hilltop because the doctor was at Hilltop. And that's the only reason why they're heading there. And to warn Hilltop that the Saviors were going to attack. So it wasn't, she didn't have problems like with the pregnancy in the comic book.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, like, when they're actually heading there, like in the show, they're in the camper going around, and the Saviors keep blocking all the roads and stuff like that, and then they get out to try to avoid them. In the comic book, that never happened. They were just sleeping, like, they camped out on the side of the road, and Rick was taking guard on top, and they capture him with, like, one of them dog capturing things around his neck, pulled him off, and then they called Negan over there. And that's when, like, the 50 people come up to surround them. And then he goes through his whole speech, just like the show was. But then, you know, he goes through a line. It's a little different because there's different people. And, like, Negan never, in the comic, never takes Rick for that road trip that he does to try to break Rick. He just sits there and he keeps taunting him. And then, you know, I mean, Rick just kind of falls in line, and then he was just like, all right, we'll be there in a week, have our stuff, and then he just walks away. Yeah. And, like, there was no future sequence, like Rick dreaming about what could have been or any of that. It's the end of the issue in the comic, that's the only place where, like, after the death is where it kind of differs a little bit. But he still essentially says the same thing. Like when he's telling Rick, now's your chance to kill me. Pick up your axe and kill me right now. But in the comic book, he said to do that, but then 50 people would drop him and kill everybody.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't go for no road trip or nothing like that. But yeah, there's way more Saviors in the comic book. He says there's 50 men. There's like 100 people surrounding him there.
And when they walked in, it looked like about 200. If you remember, when they first got there, they looked like they were walking through a couple hundred. It didn't look like no 50. You could tell the difference between 50 and 200 people.
Well, for the show, I just made sure I went back and refreshed myself again with the comic because I have them all saved and everything. I bought all the digital versions and stuff like that. So I went back and read it again. And Negan says 50, but it looks way, way more like you're saying. It looks way more than that.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, yeah. It looks like 100 plus.
Easy.
And I have to leave out a lot of stuff there that Negan says because it's really not appropriate. And it's not even just an F-bomb. So that's why I was just kind of leaving it there. Like he goes through another little speech and then just leaves.
Oh, man.
Okay. This is deep. You know, like what you're saying is deep. You know, like I want to I want to get into the comic book. I was going to, and then I decided no, because I would give a better perspective about the show on the podcast if I didn't, and that's why I'm not getting into the books. But I did go out and buy the Preacher one, so I might need a co-host for Preacher.
I'm gonna read all them ones too, because I would like to review the actual comic book. Yeah. For the comic book show, just because it seems like that seems to be your favorite there.
Yeah, Preacher. At first, I didn't know if I was gonna like it or not, and it went off. The Preacher, I was just so shocked at the things that they were doing in it. It was just like, and now I'm just like, now they're on the road traveling, and I'm like, what kind of stuff are they gonna be getting into? So it's like one of those. But so anything else that you would want to let me ask you about Maggie. Was Maggie in the comic book where, when in the comic book at the time when Glenn and Abe were batted down?
No, Maggie's actually in the lineup there, but because Abraham was already killed, he wasn't part of it.
Okay, so give me the insight on this. Who all in the comic book was there?
In the comic book, it was Rick, Michonne, Glenn, Maggie, Heath, Carl, and Sophia.
Okay.
Those were the lineup for the comic book.
Okay, so you're talking that you're saying that the Latino woman, she was already killed or not around.
No. She. I don't want to say too much because it'll give away, but she's in later issues for a while.
Oh, is she? Okay, so she's around for a while, is what you're saying.
She actually gets together with Eugene then, and she gets pregnant with Eugene's baby.
Oh, wow. I said let's not get into soap opera stuff. Please.
Well, technically, this is kind of like a soap opera.
I know.
It's the baby's mama thing.
Oh, my God.
And when you look at it, it's like a soap opera.
I cannot believe he just got into some soap opera mama, jama, or whatever they call it. I can't, Patrick, we're boys, we're homies. You're not supposed to do that on the show. Come on. Jeez. That's for Friday's show with all their vampire loves, Nicona and Brooke. They could do it on that day.
Hey, we only did that one episode.
I know. I listened to their. I stood on their whole podcast, but every time they started talking about how cute guys were, I turned the phone down. But I listened to their whole podcast. It was a really good podcast. I just turned it down when they were talking about guys. Calm down, Ike breathe. What are you talking about? Calm down, Ike breathe. I'm trying to say hi to everybody. Jeez.
I had to restart my computer.
Yeah. Oh, is it okay?
Yeah, I just had to restart it.
Yeah. We still got it. We had lunch, but we still got to go get dinner, me and my daughter, after we get done. So, so Maggie, so my main concern is Maggie. I'm in love with Maggie. Everybody knows this. There's no secret. Michael's in love with Maggie too, my brother Michael. So, there's no secret to it. And I know you're married. Patrick. So I'm not going to ask you if you have any, if you like any of the girls on there. I'm going to ask you if you like any of the guys on there.
I thought you already didn't like that one comment I made on the phone that one day. You're like, wait a minute, I didn't hear just what I heard.
I know. He said he's comfortable with his sexual. How did you say it?
Sexuality.
He's comfortable with his sexuality. So I'll just leave it like that. I won't get any further in that. I'm not gonna get any further in that. I'll just leave that completely alone.
Yeah, let that fester in people's heads there for a little bit.
Yeah, because that's quite a bit of info for me. Especially,
my wife can vouch for me.
Huh?
My wife can vouch for me. It's all just an act.